You think your life is going to change when somebody finally notices you, chooses you, rescues you. But your life changes the day you become the kind of man who does the right thing before anybody is watching. You keep telling yourself that if one break would come, one person would believe in you, one lucky moment would open the door, then everything would be different. That's the lie. The break is never the miracle. You are. The door is never the answer. Your character is. And that's what this story really means. A single dad. A Navy veteran. A tired diner. A disabled billionaire. One decision. One moment. And a life changes. Not because the world suddenly became fair, but because a man stayed solid when life had already given him every reason to become bitter. If you need reminders like this, subscribe now, not for me, for you. Because you are living in a world that keeps feeding you noise, fantasy, weakness, distraction, and you need truth in your ears more than you need comfort in your chest. You need something that brings you back to center when your mind starts drifting toward excuses. Subscribe if you're serious about remembering who you are supposed to be. Here's what it really means. It means your future is not built in the grand moments. It is exposed in the ordinary ones. It is not revealed when you are comfortable. It is revealed when you are tired, overlooked, underpaid, carrying pain, carrying responsibility, carrying disappointment, and still choosing decency, discipline, courage, and restraint. That's the test. That's always the test. Most men misunderstand power. They think power is dominance. Noise. Flexing. Intimidation. Looking important. Being seen. They think strength is making a scene. They think value is something you announce. They think respect comes from forcing people to notice them. No. Real power is quieter than that. Real strength does not need a performance. Real value does not beg for witnesses. Real respect starts with self-respect, and self-respect shows up when nobody owes you anything and you still move with principle. That man in the diner, the man this title points to, did not become powerful because a billionaire rewarded him. He was already powerful before she ever spoke to him. Read that again in your mind. He was already powerful before she ever spoke to him. The reward didn't create the man. The man created the moment. That's the difference between fantasy and reality. Fantasy says, when I get the reward, I'll become more. Reality says, when I become more, I will be ready for the reward. You want to know why so many men stay stuck? Because they keep trying to skip the becoming. They want the outcome without the architecture. They want recognition without reputation. They want peace without discipline. They want loyalty without leadership. They want results without repetition. They want a different life while protecting the habits that built the current one. That's called self-betrayal. And it happens slowly. You stop showing up with sharpness. You stop keeping your word to yourself. You stop taking care of your body. You stop controlling your mouth. You stop controlling your impulses. You stop doing what you said you would do, and then you wonder why you don't feel like a man you can trust. Of course you don't trust yourself. You watch yourself quit every week. You watch yourself negotiate with weakness every day. You watch yourself make promises in the morning and break them by night. And then you ask, why do I feel so empty? Because you cannot build self-respect on repeated evidence of your own surrender. That is the hard truth. The pain is not just that life hit you hard. The deeper pain is that somewhere along the line, you started cooperating with your own decline. Not because you are evil. Not because you are broken forever. But because pain, when it is not processed correctly, becomes permission. Permission to rot. Permission to drift. Permission to become lazy, resentful, cynical, numb. You say, I've been through a lot. True. Maybe you have. But if you use your suffering as a shield against responsibility, then suffering owns you twice. Why does it happen? Root cause. Listen carefully. Because deep down, you started confusing being wounded with being exempt. Exempt from standards. Exempt from discipline. Exempt from maturity. Exempt from restraint. Exempt from rising. You started believing your hardship gave you a free pass to live below your own code. That's called emotional debt identity. You think the world owes you softness because life was hard on you. It won't pay. It never does. And the cost is brutal. You lose your edge first. Then your confidence. Then your clarity. Then your opportunities. Then your standards. Then your relationships start reflecting your internal disorder. You tolerate disrespect because you no longer radiate order. You chase validation because you no longer generate conviction. You look for someone to save you because you no longer trust yourself to lead your own life. And then you start resenting people who stayed disciplined, not because they are better than you, but because they remind you of the man you abandoned. That resentment is poison. Quiet poison. You smile with it. You joke with it. You scroll with it. You sleep with it. But it is there. It turns every strong man into a threat, every successful person into a target, every disciplined person into an irritation. Why? Because the existence of order offends the man committed to excuses. Order makes your chaos visible. Now let's reframe it. The story is not about luck. It's not about a rich woman changing a poor man's life. It's not even really about the diner. It's about readiness. It's about moral reflex. It's about a man who stayed aligned under pressure. He did not perform goodness to get a reward. He acted from identity. He helped because helping was in him. He protected because protecting was in him. He stayed calm because panic was beneath him. He did not need applause to access his principles. That's what changes a life. Not money. Identity. You keep asking, when will my life change? Wrong question. Ask this instead. What kind of man am I when life gives me an ordinary moment with extraordinary consequences hidden inside it? Because that's how destiny usually arrives. Not with trumpets. With interruption. With inconvenience. With a test disguised as a normal day. A lot of you are waiting for a sign, but you are ignoring the assignments already in front of you. The child watching you. The bills on the table. The body that needs discipline. The room that needs order. The skill you keep postponing. The apology you need to make. The boundary you need to enforce. The addiction you need to cut off. The standard you need to raise. You say you want a new chapter, but you refuse to close the old one. You say you want transformation, but you keep feeding the identity that made you miserable. Then what exactly do you expect to happen? Nothing changes until you get disgusted with your own drift. Not shame. Disgust. There's a difference. Shame says, I am worthless. Disgust says, this version of me is unacceptable. Shame paralyzes. Disgust mobilizes. Shame makes you smaller. Disgust forces a decision. And some of you need that decision right now. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Not after one more failure. Now. Because the man who changes his life is not the man who finally feels ready. He is the man who finally gets honest. Honest about his patterns. Honest about his laziness. Honest about his distractions. Honest about the women he keeps chasing for validation. Honest about the entertainment that stole his hunger. Honest about the fake humility covering real fear. Honest about the anger he calls passion. Honest about the passivity he calls peace. Honest about the comfort he calls self-care. Honest about the fantasy he calls vision. That's called waking up. And when you wake up, really wake up, your life stops being a negotiation with weakness. It becomes a contract with truth. So what does the right man look like? He is grounded. Not flashy. Not frantic. Grounded. His emotions are under command, not because he feels nothing, but because he refuses to let feelings drive the car. He knows pain, but pain does not speak for him. He knows pressure, but pressure does not define him. He knows loneliness, but loneliness does not make him desperate. He does not move from panic. He moves from principle. He has boundaries. Real ones. Not speeches. Boundaries. He does not over-explain his standards to people committed to misunderstanding them. He does not beg for respect. He demonstrates that access to him requires it. He can say no without guilt. He can walk away without theatrics. He can be kind without becoming available for abuse. That's called self-possession. He has purpose. Not a slogan. Not a social media bio. Purpose. Something bigger than his moods. Bigger than his cravings. Bigger than his image. He wakes up belonging to a mission, not to his impulses. He has people to protect, skills to sharpen, work to finish, values to uphold. He does not need every day to feel magical. He needs every day to mean something. He is present. That matters. He is where he is. When he is with his child, he is with his child. When he is at work, he is at work. When he is in pain, he does not numb it with endless distraction. He faces it. He names it. He channels it. That's a man you can build around. That's a man whose presence lowers chaos in a room. Not because he talks the most, but because he leaks certainty. He respects himself in private. That is where it starts. Behind closed doors. When no one is clapping. When nobody can post it. When there is no external reward. He trains. He reads. He cleans up. He keeps his word. He turns off the garbage. He gets up when he said he would. He handles the small things. Why? Because a man who cannot govern the invisible parts of his life will eventually embarrass himself in the visible ones. This is the part most people avoid. Because they want inspiration without inventory. They want motivation without measurement. They want a big speech and a dramatic soundtrack. But what they really need is an audit. So do the audit. Look at your day. Not your intentions. Your day. What do you actually do? Where does your attention go? What owns your mind? Who has access to your energy? What are you consuming? What are you tolerating? What have you normalized that should disgust you? Be exact. Be brutal. Be clean with it. No drama. No pity. Just truth. Then do this. Stop volunteering your energy to people who only contact you when they need your strength but disappear when you need honesty. Stop chasing people who are entertained by your effort but unmoved by your value. Stop speaking 10 times where one boundary would do more. Stop calling chaos chemistry. Stop calling disrespect a rough patch. Stop calling avoidance being patient. Stop handing your future to your feelings. Redirect. Redirect your attention to what builds you. Your body. Your mind. Your craft. Your child. Your money. Your standards. Your environment. Your faith, if you live by one. Your discipline. Your silence. Your recovery. Your mission. Build a life that does not require constant applause to remain meaningful. Build a nervous system that does not collapse every time life withholds immediate reward. Then do the next thing. Keep your word for one day. Just one clean day. Wake when you said. Move your body. Do the work. Eat like you respect yourself. Speak less. Finish tasks. Avoid the cheap dopamine. Put your phone down. Sit with your discomfort. Handle what you've been avoiding. Then do it again tomorrow. And again. And again. That is how confidence returns. Not by affirmations alone. By evidence. Self-trust is earned. A lot of men want to feel powerful, but they don't want to become reliable. That is childish. Reliability is power. If you say you will do it and then you do it, your spine gets stronger. If you say you won't go back and then you don't, your face changes. If you say enough is enough and then you act like it, your entire energy shifts. You stop looking for permission because your behavior starts proving you mean what you say. And that is why the diner matters. Because life is full of diners. Ordinary places. Low-light moments. Unremarkable hours. Places where your real self appears. Not the edited version. Not the motivational version. The real one. The version of you that emerges when you are inconvenienced, tired, underappreciated, and still able to choose courage over indifference. That is where your future gets introduced to you. Do you understand the beauty of that? It means your life is not waiting for a perfect setup. It means your transformation is available in the middle of the mess. It means you do not need a richer family, a cleaner past, a better economy, a prettier beginning, or more applause to become a stronger man. You need a code. You need repetition. You need truth. You need standards. You need to stop acting like your potential is fragile. It's not fragile. It's neglected. And neglected things do not need pity first. They need attention. There is a version of you right now that already knows what needs to happen. He knows the calls you need to make. He knows the habits you need to kill. He knows the people you need to stop entertaining. He knows the work you have been postponing because it would expose how undisciplined you've become. He knows. The problem is not confusion. The problem is disobedience to your own inner clarity. That's why more information is not saving you. You don't need 15 more podcasts about discipline if you still sleep through the alarm. You don't need one more quote about healing if you keep reopening the wound with the same behavior. You don't need another fantasy about the future if your present habits are betraying it. You do not need more seduction. You need command. Command over your attention. Command over your body. Command over your standards. Command over your mouth. Command over your emotional reactions. Command over your time. Because where there is no command, there will be drift. And drift is expensive. Drift steals years while pretending to be rest. So let me tell you something clearly. The world changes for the man who becomes undeniable to himself first. Not to the crowd. To himself. When you can look in the mirror and know, without needing anybody to agree, that you are becoming more trustworthy, more disciplined, more stable, more dangerous in the right ways, more peaceful, more capable, more deliberate, then something in your entire reality bends. Not magic. Alignment. People feel it. Opportunities feel it. Your child feels it. Your future feels it. You stop radiating hunger for rescue and start radiating readiness for responsibility. That is attractive. That is powerful. That is rare. And yes, sometimes life responds in dramatic ways. Sometimes one act opens a door you never saw coming. Sometimes a stranger becomes a turning point. Sometimes help arrives. Sometimes the reward is bigger than you imagined. Good. Receive it with gratitude. But never confuse the blessing with the source. The source was the man you chose to be before the blessing showed up. So from this day forward, stop saying, "I'm waiting for my life to change." Say, "I'm training for the moments that reveal who I am." Stop saying, "Nobody sees me." Say, "I see me, and I'm no longer available for self-disrespect." Stop saying, "I need motivation." Say, "I need a code." Stop saying, "Maybe one day." Say, "Today gets counted." Because it does. Today counts. Tonight counts. This decision counts. The next hour counts. The next conversation counts. The way you leave this video counts. Will you drift back into noise? Or will you stand up different? Will this just entertain you? Or will it confront you enough to change you? That choice is your whole life in miniature. And maybe that's the deepest truth in the story. The man did not know his moment would matter that much. He simply acted like his values mattered all the time. That's the standard. You don't need to know which moment changes everything. You need to become the man who is ready if it does. That means you protect your name. You protect your mind. You protect your child. You protect your peace. You protect your schedule. You protect your standards. You protect your body. You protect your future from the weak version of you that keeps trying to negotiate his way back in. No more. You've spent enough time doubting yourself. Enough time shrinking. Enough time confusing survival with purpose. Enough time performing strength while privately collapsing. Enough time waiting for permission to become serious about your life. You don't need permission. You need decision. And here it is. You are not behind because life has been unfair. You are behind when you keep worshipping the version of you that pain created instead of building the version of you that truth demands. So build him. Build the man who can sit in silence without panic. Build the man who keeps his word when nobody tracks him. Build the man who can love deeply without losing himself. Build the man who can help without needing credit. Build the man who can walk away from disrespect without speechmaking. Build the man whose child feels safe around his steadiness. Build the man whose opportunities trust his character. Build the man whose peace is earned, not borrowed. And when you do, something changes. Not just around you. In you. Your posture changes. Your eyes change. Your decisions change. Your energy changes. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" because your life starts answering that question through action. You are not here to be carried through your own life. You are not here to be parented by approval. You are not here to make an identity out of your wounds. You are not here to beg destiny for scraps. You are here to stand up. You are here to get clear. You are here to get disciplined. You are here to become trustworthy under pressure. You are here to turn pain into structure. You are here to reclaim your name. You are the answer. Not because you control everything. You don't. Not because life will suddenly become easy. It won't. Not because every story ends in a miracle. It doesn't. You are the answer because the quality of the man you become determines the quality of the life you can carry. And if your life has felt heavy lately, maybe the call is not to complain about the weight. Maybe the call is to become stronger. So do that. Start clean. Start tired. Start embarrassed. Start with nothing glamorous. Start in your own diner moment, whatever that is. Start in the ordinary place where nobody thinks history is being made. Because that is exactly where men are made. In the ordinary. In the repeated. In the unseen. In the choice to act right before the reward arrives. And if this gave you the truth you needed, subscribe, because you do not need more noise. You need reminders like this until discipline becomes identity and clarity becomes your default. Stay here if you want truth over fantasy, strength over self-pity, standards over excuses. You are not alone in this. There are still men choosing self-respect, still people rebuilding with honesty, still a community that would rather be challenged than comforted. Stand with that. And now go live like your next ordinary moment is carrying a door only character can open.